Hi, this is Patty Gazelle with Girl Scouts of Central Illinois, and I am here to do our ninth leader chat. So, welcome to the month of March. Our leader chat this month is How to Bridge Like a Girl Scout, and we are going to talk about how to bridge. But before we get started with that, I wanted to point out that this is our ninth leader chat for the year, and we have eight others. I wanted to let people know where you can find those. We have had quite a few really great topics. So if you wanted to go back and look at one of the other topics that we've talked about, all of them have been very strongly pertaining to how to run your troop. So you can find those by going to our website at getyourgirlpower.org. You would click the volunteer link that you'll see. There's a little tab that says volunteer. Once you click that, it's going to open up for volunteer resources. You'll click volunteer resources. And then if you scroll down a little toward the center of the page, you're going to see leader chats. And in those leader chats, it's a little drop down. You can drop that down and you'll see all of the topics from prior months. So you can just choose the topic that you will find most helpful and go with that. You'll be able to listen to all of the leader chats that we've had. So that's how you can find those. Again, my name is Patty, and what we're talking about this month is how to bridge like a Girl Scout. It is that time of year. Most bridgings happen at the end of the school year. So what we will do is just start working into that. For bridging basics, bridging is an important transition in every Girl Scout's life. It is the moment when you officially complete the level that you're in. You look at all the achievements that you've had and you get ready to move to the next level. All levels do bridge. Daisies bridge to brownies, brownies bridge to juniors, juniors bridge to cadets, cadets bridge to seniors, seniors bridge to ambassadors, and ambassadors bridge to adults. Most of our troops do have a bridging at the end of the year. Some of our troops will do it as an investiture at the beginning of the next year, and some will even do it in the summer when they're going on an adventure, or sometime throughout the year when they're doing a Girl Scout adventure. It is not every year that a troop will bridge. Each level, with the exception of cadets, has 2 years. It's at the end of that 2 years, and for cadets, it's at the end of 3 years, at which time you will have a ceremony, and there's that culminating event for the year end of that 2 year cycle, and then they'll bridge to the next level. So when you're doing that, girls can proudly share what they've learned. A lot of times, friends, family will be invited, and they will have that event and share what they've learned or what they've done through that time period for that level that they were in. Bridging ceremonies can include a lot of different things. We do want the girls to be part of that process in helping to create what that ceremony looks like, certainly with guidance from troop leaders, so that you're working within guidelines that will fit for the troop finances, for the troop placement where you are, those types of things. But they can include the troop. A bridging can also just be an individual, or it can be groups that include more than just one troop. It can include people who are coming to attend it as guests, or it can be something that the troop does ceremonially just by themselves. It can be combined with other activities. A number of our service units, actually at this time, all of our service units do have a celebration for not just awards given, but they will combine that with a bridging ceremony. It can include providing a great way to reach out to individual Girl Scouts or Girl Scout communities. And it can be a great time to present certificates and awards to both the girls who have earned them that year, as well as volunteers. So we have a number of volunteer awards that can be earned by the parent, or the person can be nominated. As you are putting the bridging ceremonies together and you're working with the girls to have that conversation, you can create something that's very simple and intimate, or something pretty elaborate. It really depends on the group and how they're planning the ceremony. We always say that with any event in a troop, you can hit the simple button and make it very specific and very easy, or you can go to Pinterest and you can make it the biggest, most glittery thing that you can think up. So there are some basics for our bridging ceremonies though. Most ceremonies will include a flag or an opening ceremony. The flag ceremony being one of the most traditional opening ceremonies to a meeting. The Girl Scout promise, the Girl Scout law, which I think every bridging I've ever attended has both of those items. A presentation of certificates, patches, and other awards. Some troops will hold some of the larger awards that the girls are working on, bronze award, other awards such as that, to the end when they're doing this type of an event, and then they'll present those at that time. Some will even make up awards like most active parent or most active volunteer type thing, and they will present those to people in the audience. There certainly is some type of a bridge. It doesn't have to be a specific bridge, but something that indicates that you're crossing from one side to another. A lot of times you'll see the Girl Scout handshake, because as the girl crosses over, that handshake is present. A bridging certificate for the girl who is bridging, and an ending ceremony. Especially if you've done the flag ceremony to open the event, you're going to do that ending ceremony to retire the flag. Some groups, though, will do the friendship circle, and they'll even invite their guests down. And that kind of brings us to additions. Ceremonies can include things, but certainly these things are not required, but doing the friendship squeeze. So maybe doing that big friendship circle and passing the squeeze around, inviting all of the people who are attending to come down and participate and enjoy a piece of Girl Scouts with you. Some Girl Scouts some Girl Scout troops or individual Girl Scouts will sing. I know my girls, again, when we're talking about Girl Scouts bridging every 2 years, we had a multi-level troop. So part of my Girl Scout troop would be bridging 1 year while the other part was not. And everybody had a role to play, because what they would do is many of the girls who weren't bridging that year would decide to sing either a Girl Scout song or tell a poem or a story, those types of things. So the people who were bridging had the ceremony to participate in, and then the people who weren't bridging would bring some element of what our year was and share that with all of our guests. Many of our bridgings will serve refreshments. Cupcakes and something to drink tend to be the most common that you'll see at the events. A lot of the events that I've been to, cupcakes are present. Sometimes if you're moving into the brownie level, you'll see brownies, and every once in a while you'll see some really awesome looking cake too. So, but it can be anything. It could be maybe your girls decide we just want to have chips and dips, and so that's what they have for their refreshments. Or you may decide refreshments just aren't the thing for us. We're going to skip that altogether. It could be sharing a Girl Scout memory or pictures or crafts. Some troops will set up tables like you'll see at school events, and all of the things that the girls have done that they feel is something that they want to share will be placed out, and guests can go through and look at those items, and sometimes there'll be little descriptions next to them. Girls might also share their plans for future. If they're doing something really fun next year and they've already got it going, they've got it decided on and how they're going to be putting it together, they might put that there. 1 year I saw a troop that did a trifold board, one of those big kind of science boards, and they had pictures from their bronze award, everything that they had worked on. They put that together and shared it with the audience so everybody could see the steps that they went through to achieve that award. So those are some things that you can decide if you want to have as elements for bridging or not. It honestly could be as simple as we're having our final troop meeting, and at our final troop meeting, we are going to do a bridging, and that's it. And you do these bridging requirements that you see on this page, or it can be something more elaborate and have all of the pieces that we were just talking about be part of that. But for the requirement side of it, in preparation for bridging, girls and leaders need to review what the information is that's in the Girl Guide. You can also go to the volunteer toolkit and you can look up bridging requirements and you'll be able to find all of the bridging requirements. There's a designated section in each one that'll explain specific things that the girls need to do to get ready for bridging. Most often, these requirements include talking to older Girl Scouts about their experiences. So, if you have Girl Scouts at the Daisy level, they would talk to Girl Scouts who are brownies or juniors or older and talk to them about what it is that they do and how they do it at their level in their troop. You will also earn a badge from the next level. So a lot of troops, that last part of the day, or last part of the troop year, they will earn a badge from the next level that's one older than them. Again, if we're looking at daisies, then we would look at earning a brownie badge. And then you help a younger group of Girl Scouts. For every level except for daisies, this is really simple. Although daisies most of the daisy troops that I know, what they will do is they'll reach out to pre-K girls and they will invite them to a troop meeting and they'll talk to them about what it is to be a Girl Scout and then do an event or one of the pedals with them. So these are all the things that girls must complete in order to bridge. And at the bottom of this page, you'll see the Girl Guide booklets and the Volunteer Toolkit. If you need any assistance in getting into the Volunteer Toolkit to access this information, please just let us know. We are happy to go through that process of the Volunteer Toolkit and get you on the right page. So some of the other information for bridging, again, we talked earlier about how you really want it to be girl-led. This is something that they've achieved. It's an experience that they've had. So it's really nice to have them be part of that planning, part of the planning process. The GSLE is definitely what we're always focused on, Girl Scout led. So make sure that you're talking with the girls and you're getting them involved in the decision making. You can talk to them about the opening ceremony. I know the girls in our troop were always clamoring to try to be the person doing the flag ceremony. So it was really nice, since we were a multi-level troop, that every other year the girls who were bridging got to be the people who were participating in the flag ceremony portion of it. And during that, you're reciting the Girl Scout promise and the law. But some girls just aren't comfortable with doing that. So maybe it would be something that the girls would not decide to do. We talked a little bit before about pictures, presentation, performance. I know that within our school, we had all of the different levels within the school all bridging at the same time. So there were oftentimes troops at one level that they weren't bridging, similar to what happened for my troop. So they would almost always choose to do a performance of some type, a funny skit, reading poems, doing songs. I got something in my pocket was always a popular one at our school because the girls could act it out as they sang. But those are just things that I've experienced. I'm sure that there are a lot of other things that girls can come up with and leaders might come up with that you can participate and have as part of that bridging ceremony if the girls so choose. Bridging, crossing, flying up. These are all terminologies that you might hear people say, oh, are you going to have a fly up? That's what they called it when I was a Girl Scout back in the day. So we would talk about flying up to the next level. Now, GSUSA and Girl Scouts of Central Illinois, we call it a bridging. Sometimes you'll hear it called as a crossing. So as you're going through that process of the actual bridging ceremony, it can be explained to guests by the girls or by the leaders. Oftentimes I'll see this done by the leaders, but that is something that will keep your guests understanding what is happening as things are occurring. And then your closing, certainly asking the girls to, if they've done a flag ceremony, to open it, to have it closed through the flag ceremony. But oftentimes guests are thanked. If you have parents who have been super active in your troop but aren't in a leadership role, at that time during the closing, you might thank them. You might give them some type of a token of appreciation. We used to do carnations. But then the ceremony ends. Some troops will even invite all of their guests down, and it makes a really nice big friendship circle. And they'll teach their guests how to do the friendship circle and the meaning of that. And then afterwards, if you're choosing to do refreshments, certainly that would be when everybody would be receiving their refreshments and maybe have a little talk time, go back and look at anything that might have been put out for projects or other information. So when you've got all of those pieces now that we've talked about, and then you have bridging specifics. So what happens? Obviously, girls are going to walk over a bridge, or maybe it's going to be under an archway, but it's going to be something that is specifically showing that they're starting from one side and they're moving to another level. They're moving to another experience. Many troops, when they are bridging, the leader will be the girl will be at the start of the bridge, one side of it, and the leader will be at the other side of it, ready to give them the Girl Scout handshake as they've reached the other side and welcome them to the new level. The handshake certainly being, well, many of us know what the handshake is, but it's done with the left hand while the right hand is making the Girl Scout sign. What we used to do at our school, because as I mentioned earlier, was we had every level represented. We always let the leader be the person talking because we did have the opportunity to have girls from the level that the girls are bridging into right there to accept them and welcome them into their troop. So the girls, if we had a Daisy who was bridging, then it would be a brownie at the other side with the Girl Scout sign already and the left hand shake to go. And it was that brownie who would welcome the Daisy over, or the junior who would welcome the brownie over as they crossed into the new level. And that was just a really neat way to mentor, for older girls to mentor younger girls, even at that bridging ceremony, and create a Girl Scout community if you have that opportunity. Some examples for bridging, they can be, certainly each one of our service centers has a bridge that you can come and check out and use for your ceremony. You can also make your own bridges. There are some really great examples. In the top left-hand side, you'll see where they've placed, it's probably one of those Dollar Tree type tablecloths that they've taped on either end to make stable, and then placed some little pom-pom type flowers to make it a bridge, a walkway with, and then they added those really cute balloons. I know every girl would love to walk through that. So you would have your girl at one end and the person welcoming them to the new level at the other end. And then below that is another example with a balloon, only this time the balloons are at staggered levels so that it looks like the railing of a bridge, and a girl would just pass through that. Lower right-hand side is a community bridge. I know some of our service centers actually have bridges outside of the offices, and I believe all of our camps have a bridge. If you wanted to go out to one of the Girl Scout camps and cross over one of the bridges used for that. I know locally our parks, every one of our parks has a bridge in it, so you could use a bridge to do that. My favorite one, though, is the top one, where the girls make their own bridge. One of the bridging ceremonies I experienced as a girl was the parents, and they put their arms up, and all of the parents passed through. And one of my favorite stories from last summer is one of the troops that I have the opportunity to work with. They went on a really big adventure, hiking, camping, out into the woods, and one of the evenings for their bridging, they did this ceremony where all of the girls and the moms who were on the trip created a tunnel like that with arms, and they bridged right through that camaraderie of their group, their small group. It was a really neat bonding experience, and it made for just a really wonderful way to bridge for them as they're already on a pretty high adventure time. So I really like that idea personally. And then when you're doing the bridgings, you're going to have bridging certificates. These are not required, but they are something that a lot of girls like just to commemorate that the event happened. This is just an example of one. We also sell them in bridging kits in our service unit or our service centers. So all of our boutiques would have these. In fact, this is an example of one of the bridging kits that we sell in our boutique. The kit includes the award certificate. It includes a bridging certificate, which you see to the right, and then the leader would fill that out. A bridging badge, which is in the lower right, the membership star for that year. Each year, there's a membership star. It's not just for the years that you are bridging. And for each one of the stars, there is a disc that goes behind it that is the color of that level. So, for instance, daisies are blue. There would be a blue disc, and they would have 2 membership pins if they were active Girl Scouts during both of the years of their daisy membership. And then we also include a fun patch for bridging that would go on back, and the bridging pencil, which nobody should be without a bridging pencil. So the cost for these kits are $7 for the Brownie Senior and Ambassador kits. Those do not have wings in them. The Junior kit and the Cadet kit both have wings, so that would increase the total to $8. Now, if you're a junior bridging ticket, if you're a Brownie bridging to juniors and you earn the bridging wings at that point, then you can just continue to use those and move them from your uniform, your junior uniform to your cadet uniform. But oftentimes what a lot of troops will do is they want to keep that junior uniform intact, and they don't want to take any of the badges off. So they'll just buy a new kit as the junior is bridging from junior to cadet, and then they will move that onto they will place that new wing onto that new cadet. But you certainly wouldn't need to. You could just buy the one wing and continue on with that. I also wanted to show you what the bridging patches look like. So each one is slightly different, within the same color kind of family though. And as you're bridging, you would just continue to add those in. Or if you were going to keep them on your Brownie uniform and then keep the one for your junior on your junior uniform, that would be absolutely fine too. And then the Brownie wings, not the Brownie wings, that's what they kind of used to be called, but the fly up, the wings would go into the junior year. So when you're going on to your junior vest. I was a little curious though. I know I had Brownie wings. I was just trying to remember a little of the information, so I thought it might be interesting to all of you. But Brownie Girl Scout wings, they show that the girl has completed her years as a Brownie and she's ready to fly up, which again, that's what we used to call it, to junior Girl Scouts. It's a tradition that goes back to when Brownie Girl Scout leaders were called brown owls, which is before me, quite honestly. The wings are worn on the junior sash or vest. It's centered horizontally, directly under the Junior 8 award. If the girl does not have the Junior 8 award, then it would go directly under the bridge to the Junior award. The Girl Scout wings are worn during their years from 11 to 17, so the vest going from junior year all the way through their ambassador year, and it's always directly under the bridging awards. So they're just a great opportunity to have a little piece of the past as we're going forward into the future. I thought that was a great story. So there is a lot of information that you can search online, as well as information, or not information necessarily, but opportunities within your bridging ceremony for your troop to make it something that is uniquely yours and uniquely your troops. The most important part is to have fun when you're doing this. It's a celebration, and it's a celebration of a huge milestone each time you pass from one level to another for Girl Scouts. Girl Scouts are changing the world every day, and it's definitely something to celebrate. So if you have any questions about bridging, or you have any questions about renting, or not renting, but borrowing one of our bridges, or things that you might want to add, or being part of one of the bridging ceremonies that our program teams will be putting on this spring, please just get in touch with us. Let us know your questions. We are happy to help, and we would love to be part of your celebration. So this is Patty, and I hope that you have a wonderful bridging ceremony this year. Have a great evening.